لَا يَشْهُدُونَ الزُّورِ. These are people, they don't witness false testimony. It means a couple of things. One, it means they don't give false testimony. Most translations say something like that. They don't testify falsely. But it also means they don't even like to be witness to falsehood taking place. They don't want nothing to do with it. They're not going to sit around watching the wrong thing go on. They will take no part in it. They will protest. They will walk out. They will not just sit there and let a wrong happen. Let injustice go by. And they're just sitting around watching. لا يشهدون الزور. I'm reminded of the famous hadith, I'm paraphrasing, you can look it up inshallah ta'ala. It's a hadith Qudsi, in which the Prophet, in which Allah told the angels to crush a town. To crush a town. And they said, in this town there's a slave of yours. Not a blink of an eye has gone by that he hasn't worshipped you. You want us to crush that town? And Allah says, start with him. Turn the town over on him. Crush him first. Because his blood didn't boil when injustice was done, when shirk was done, when falsehood was spread. It didn't bother him. He was okay just keeping the religion to himself. At least I'm good. The passage began with people that are deeply spiritual. In the middle of the night, they're asking for themselves to be saved. And now we're learning these are also the same people. They can't stand falsehood go on. Azur, They can't experience that evil kind of lie. وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا. And on top of that, they won't stand for it ever. On the second hand, if they even pass by useless conversation, useless company, a useless gathering, they're going there and people are backbiting, people are, they're doing bad stuff, useless activities, then they don't say, this is lahu, I shall recite the ayah and walk out of here. وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا. And also wanted to let you know, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. They leave that company in a dignified fashion. I'm so sorry, I have to get going. You can't say, no, I really can't. I'm really sorry. Thank you so much for the invitation. Inshallah, see you next time. Make a dignified escape. Marru kirama. They pass by it in a dignified way. Also means they don't get involved in it. Because those who get involved in it end up losing their dignity. They start saying indecent things. The opposite of this we read in the previous surah, Samiran tahjurun. All night hanging out saying inappropriate things, and the later the night gets, the more inappropriate you get. These people make a dignified escape. Okay, inshallah, I'm going to go. I'm going to get going. And you could say nice things too, like inshallah, it's getting late, I won't get up for Fajr if I don't go now. You know what that does? Others say, well, if he's not going to get up for Fajr, maybe I should worry about that too. You shouldn't say, you people should worry about Fajr. Marru kirama. They leave in a dignified fashion. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِّرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ. One of my favorite ayat in the Qur'an. And when they are reminded of the ayat of their master, they're listening to a khutbah, they're listening to qira'ah of Qur'an, they're listening to somebody explain the Qur'an, they're reminded of the ayat of Qur'an. لَمْ يَخِرُّوا عَلَيْهَا. They don't fall over them, meaning trip over them, stumble on them. When you're walking and you didn't realize there's a log of wood in front of you, and you kind of kicked it really hard and stumbled and then kind of kept going. I don't know what that was, but it sure got in my way. That's the attitude they have towards the ayat of Qur'an. I don't care what that was, but it made me uncomfortable. I stumbled when I heard it. لَمْ يَخِرُّوا عَلَيْهَا. They don't stumble upon them. Now, what state do they stumble upon them in? صُمًّا وَعُمْيَانًا. Mute, or deaf rather. Deaf and blind. Deaf and blind. Now, deaf I understand. Deaf is easy. They don't trip over them. Deaf, in other words, they're not the kind of people that don't pay attention to the ayat. They're being reminded, then they tune it out, or they zone out, or they don't really focus. That's one criticism. They don't do that. These are people that focus when the ayat are being talked about. That's one. But then what's umyan doing there? What do you mean blind? How are you listening to the ayat a problem if you're blind? The idea is that when somebody can see, when they open their eyes, they see the seen world or the unseen world? They see the seen world. They see the seen world. But when they hear the ayat, they get a picture of the unseen reality. The unseen reality should now change the way you look at the seen reality. And if it hasn't changed the way you look at the seen reality, you're still blind. You're still blind. You still didn't change your world view. You're still blind. They don't pass over these ayat without changing their perceptions of things. And if you tune in, it will change your attitudes. If you tune out, it won't change anything.